to trek in, some from, I understand, as far as away as the West Coast. I didn't know George like many people in this room, but I would like to share with you a little bit about his accomplishments and certainly about what he did for our community. Folks, if I can have your attention. Thank you. George Tavarian, April the 10th, 1924, until Christmas Eve, 2010. George actually graduated from Duxbury High School in 1942. And it was there that his roots were placed in the ground, literally, at the high school and at the other fields here in the town of Duxbury. He played as the captain of the baseball and the basketball team, and he was voted his junior and senior year the best male athlete in his class. He made the best decision of his life when he took the time to propose to Nancy Burnham Terabanian, and together they had 4 children, Peter, Pamela, Paul, and Charles. And at this time, I'd like to recognize Nancy. Nancy, if you could give the Queen's wave, we would appreciate it. Nancy, this is addressed to you and to your family from this year's Boosters Club. First of all, we're thrilled and honored that you would come here and represent your family. And we'd like to share a little more with our audience this evening about George. He was a Navy veteran. He graduated, he was a Navy veteran after graduating from Duxbury High School in 1945. His statistics are something that would make the Sports Channel every night if he was still playing or active in sports. From 1954 through 1984, he and his wife were dedicated to a very special place in this town. I've only been in town a little over 20 years with my wife Janice, but we've often heard people refer to Camp T. It was a summer camp, was located on High Street, and with the help of the Terabanians, they helped teach over 100 children in our community how to play, how to get along, and most of all, how to enjoy sports. The camp is now known for its fabulous blueberries. I don't know the last time you were out on High Street, but what a field they have out there. In 1955 was the first year that he began to teach in Duxbury, and with Nancy's permission, I've been allowed to share his salary with you. His starting job here in Duxbury paid $4,300. And in order to support those wonderful children and that family that they were about to raise, he signed on as the soccer coach and the basketball coach just so he could earn another $340. So you were on Easy Street back then. Things were just coming home to roost. So in 1955, he decided that he was going to commit himself to sports and to the kids in this community. He became the director of athletics as a part-time job in 1967, and he held that post until 1980. Certainly one of the highlights of his coaching career, Nancy shared with me, was bringing the Duxbury High School basketball team to the Eastern Mass Intercontinental Championship game in Boston, and that was in 1962. He remained head of the physical education department and developed a very adaptive PE program, something that has been built on and is recognized in all of the secondary schools today. He retired in 1985, and his salary when he retired, just to show that you can make a living just barely as a teacher in this community, was $31,000 and some change. Nancy shared with me that her granddaughter will be teaching next year, and her first contract is almost twice as much as what her grandfather made here in town. So he taught under 4 principles, and most importantly, George was inducted when we started under Tom Holgate, the very first Hall of Fame in 2005. This evening in his audience, and in our audience, and I'm going to ask him to stand and be recognized individually because we are very, very pleased to have you here. First of all, his daughter, Pam White. Katie White.
Oh, God.
2 sons, Paul and Charlie. His sister-in-law is here, Priscilla McMullen. that one of his closest friends who enjoyed what we did today is golfing buddy Mike Connor. Mike? Mike, great to have you, and Nancy, it's great to have you and the family here. And now to represent the Turabanian family, would you please welcome Pam White to say just a few words. Pam?